Welcome to Michael Potts Photography, the story behind the photograph. In this video, I'd like to show you a photograph that I took of this famous bar in Amsterdam, Het Papeneiland. It's located right in the middle of the historic UNESCO World Heritage Canal Belt system of Amsterdam. And as somebody who's lived here for many years and has probably photographed all of the 90 islands that make up the city, this corner is probably my favorite. This area was built between 1613 and 1625. It was a time when the city's population was expanding massively, and they decided to take quite an unprecedented step and engage in some very ambitious urban planning. They built a series of canals, churches, commercial, residential accommodation to accommodate the influx of new people to the city. One of the main reasons the city was booming was due to trade. And this is coming largely from the Dutch East India Company, the VOC. As a result, business in Amsterdam was thriving. Amsterdam had become the storehouse of the world. And the merchants needed some way to store all of those spices and produce that they had collected. So here's a map from 1600s where it's just the old town. And then in the space of 25 years, that has completely changed. They've built new canals, they've built streets, houses, churches, shops, and it's remarkable to see how quickly that transformation took place. As you can see from this map, what they built in 1625 is almost identical to what we have now, all except for one empty piece of land, and that is where the bar that I photographed was to be built. That piece of land remained empty until 1642. There's a story that says there was a secret passage linking this bar to number 7 Prinsengracht on the other side of the canal, linking the bar to a secret underground Catholic church. In Amsterdam in 1578, Catholicism had been outlawed, so any Catholic worship had to be done in secret. That's actually where this bar gets its name from. Het Papeneiland means the Papist's island. If you look at the sketch by the brilliantly named Jacob Katz, you'll see that the bar is pretty much the same as what we see now. In fact, the whole area is almost identical to what we have today. If you go into the bar, you'll see the walls are covered with photographs and drawings from people who've been inspired by this corner for hundreds of years. And it's remarkable to see that nothing has really changed in all that time. One of the oldest photographs taken of the bar is by George Breitner. This was taken in 1896. And the remarkable thing here is that you can see that the gables have been very simplified. They're no longer stepped, but they're sort of angular. The stepped gables that we see now were actually reintroduced in a renovation in 1956. Today, the bar is most famous for having the second best apple pie in the whole of the city. It was famously enjoyed by Bill Clinton in 2011. It's also known for being one of the most gezellig or cozy brown bars. The first time, as far as I can see, that I photographed this bar was back in 2010. Since then, it's been a bit of a staple location for me. It's a real go-to. I live just around the corner and it's quite easy to grab the camera and rush down to the spot whenever there's something interesting happening. I've photographed it in summer when the trees are out, and in winter when the canals are frozen over and covered in snow. Dusk shots where blue light and pink clouds dominate the image, to sun-soaked summer evenings and electric pink sunsets, to night shots where the lights of the cars and the bicycles dance over the bridges and the whole city becomes this magical fairy tale wonderland. But my best shot, my favorite shot of this corner, is definitely this sunset picture taken in October 2020. It was part of a book that I was working on during the pandemic, Amsterdam at Dusk to Dawn, where I'd taken a series of photographs throughout the city, capturing that magical moment as the sun goes down and the lights come up. If you are interested in the book, there's a link in the description below, and there is an ebook as well as a hardcover book available. The starting image was very dark. This is not what the evening looked like. I intentionally shot the shot a lot darker, and the reason for this was to capture the lightest part of the sunset. Sunsets are very difficult to photograph. They have extremely light parts as well as very, very dark parts. And if you overexpose it, you lose all of that information forever. I shot this with a Nikon D850. The shutter speed was 1/250, f-stop at 5.6, and the ISO was 125. And I'm using a very wide 14mm lens. When it came to editing, the first thing I did was take it into Lightroom. Lightroom has a feature where you can automatically adjust the settings of a photograph to what it thinks will be best. And this is often a very, very good starting point because it does a lot of changes very, very quickly. In addition to that, I made the shadows a lot lighter and I lightened the entire image. You can still see all the colors and the yellows of the sunset, but now you can start seeing some detail in the shadows. I then worked on some of the specific colors in the sunset, lightening these and making them more punchy. I applied a graduated filter at the top of the image, and this helps balance the color and brings the whole composition together a lot better. Then I painted areas of the photograph that I really wanted to stand out. For example, the buildings and the bridge. Then there was another round of tweaking the sharpness, the shadows, the clarity, and adjusting the image highlights. I didn't want anything to be too washed out. Then finally, I removed a few of the annoying things that could be distracting, like street signs. I didn't go too overboard in this. I left a lot of the cyclists and the cars because I felt that this gives a little bit more life to the image. And once that was done, the image was complete. Thank you for watching the story behind the photograph. I really hope you've enjoyed it. This really is one of the nicest spots in Amsterdam to photograph. So if you do visit the city, please make sure you come to the corner of Brouwersgracht and Prinsengracht and have a look at this gorgeous place. And if you do have a few moments, do stop in and have a slice of apple pie. It's really worth it. Along with the links to the book, there's also links to my print store where you can find this print as well as many others for sale. These are limited edition prints and they all come with a certificate of authenticity. So until the next one, goodbye.